Widow Fox. I'm gonna put that up here. I'm gonna put you guys down there so I can look at this while I play. And as always, chat, it's time to get the mood a little bit better, shall we? First of all, as always, there's a little rain outside. Not too bright, big as you can hear now. We're gonna turn it a little bit down. So, we're gonna close the doors a little. There we go. Secondly, the most important thing when we're gonna watch, listen to a good story is this. The fireplace needs to be lit. And voila. The cozy fire is lit. The rain is tingling on the windows outside. And it's time for a story. Here we go, chat. Once upon a time, there was a fox and a Mrs. Fox who lived deep in the forest in a fox den. They were friends and got along well, and lived as well together as a couple can. But there was a day when the fox had been to the farmer's hen house, and there he ate up everything. And I suppose it always was a bit too much for him. Then he got sick, and he died. And no matter how Mrs. Fox mourned and wept, he was dead and would remain dead. But when he had been put into the ground, and his wake was well past, the suitors began to come to the window. One day, there were 3 knocks at the door of the fox den. "Oh, do go out and see what it is, course," said the widow fox. She had a Molly as her maid, and her name was Course. When the girl came out, there stood a bear on the threshold. "Good evening," greeted the bear. "Good evening yourself," said Course. "Is the widow fox home this evening?" he asked. "She sits inside," replied the girl. "What is she doing this evening? Is it ill or is it pleasing?" the bear asked. "She's grieving for her husband, dead, and weeps her nose both sore and red. She knows not what to do," said the Molly. "Ask her out to go. Some good advice for her to know," said the bear. When the Molly came in, her mistress asked, "Who is it knocking? Who is it whose knocking will not cease? Who robs me of my evening's peace?" "It's your suitors," replied the Molly. "I should ask you out to go. Some good advice for you to know." "What manner of coat does he wear?" asked the widow fox. "A beautiful bear," said the girl. "A big fellow and sight," she said. Let him go, let him go. His advice I need not know." Course went and opened the door a crack and said, "She asked at whom you go. Your advice she will not know." So there was nothing for it but that the bear had to turn around and leave in the direction he came from. Next Saturday evening, there came another knock on the door. This time a wolf stood without. "Good evening," said the wolf. "Is the widow fox home?" Yes, that she was. "What is she doing this evening? Is it ill or is it pleasing?" he asked. "Oh, she knows not what to do. She weeps her nose both sore and red from grieving for her husband's dead." "Ask her out to go. Some good advice for her to know," she said the grey shanks. "Who is it whose knocking will not cease and robs me of my evening's peace?" asked the widow fox. "Oh, it's suitors I know," said the Molly. "I should ask you out to go. Some good advice for you to know." No, first the widow fox would know what manner of coat he wore. "A grey so fine, long body and scant beside," replied Course. Let him go, let him go. His advice I need not know, said the widow. And Greyshanks did not get in. He had to turn aside, he too. On the third Saturday went the same way. There were 3 knocks at the door, and the Molly went out to see who it was. And it was a hare. Good evening, he said. Good evening yourself, she replied. A stranger folk out wandering so late in the evening, she said. Well, yes, they were. And then he also asked if the widow fox was home, and what she was doing. Oh, she's weeping her nose, both sore and red, while grieving for her husband, dead. Ask her out to go. Some good advice for her to know, said the hare. Oh, who is it knocking will not cease, and robs me of my evening peace? Asked the mistress to course. It is surly suitors, mother, replied the girl. So she wanted to know what manner of coat he wore this time too. Oh, fine, beautiful, white, dense, worst, woven tight, said the Molly. It could not get any better now. Let him go, let him go. His advice I need not know, replied the widow fox. Then came the 4th Saturday evening, and just like that there were 3 knocks on the door on the fox's house again. Go out and see what's going on now, said the widow to the housemaid. And when Molly came out, there stood a fox on the threshold. Good evening, and thank you for last time, said the fox. Thank you for last time, replied the girl. Is the widow fox home? He asked. Yes, she's grieving for her husband dead, and weeps both her nose sore and red, said the girl. She knows not what to do, the poor thing. Just ask her out to go. Some good advice for her to know, said the fox. Then Course went in. Who is it whose knocking will not cease, and rob me of my evening's peace? Asked the mistress. Oh, you know by now, replied Molly. It is your suitors, it is. I should ask you out to go. Some good advice for you to know. What manner of jacket? Asked the widow fox. A fine, beautiful red, just like his who's dead, replied Molly. Dare ask him in to see. His advice is good for me, said the widow. Bring me here my sock so small, with him I'd like to go withal. Bring me my button shoes to me, with him I'll ramble in the free. This he would too, and directly there was a feast and a wedding at the widow's fox. And if he hasn't been in the hen house too, then yet they live in the fox's den, even today. Och snipp, snapp, snute. Så var äventyr ute. Or as you guys say it in English, the end. Hope you guys liked it. Other than nothing. I don't like that, chat. I don't like that. There we go. Beautiful.
Enemy spotted.
Baby.
One enemy remaining.
3 out! I've taken worse.